I came to pick up my corrected prescription lenses, Michelle here at Scott Eye Care had told me that she would recommend me looking into the sensory cradle, and she gave me the information. She also shared a little bit with her experience, and I was thinking, okay, it sounds a little wacky, you know, whatever. But as time progressed and I was getting worse, and just, I shared it with my mother, explained it all to her. She saw the materials. She noticed the changes in me as well and was very concerned, where I was kind of like getting used to it. And she just urged me. So I finally came in, and I didn't cancel any of the appointments that were tentatively set up, even though I was feeling like, maybe not, you know, let's just go see what happens. And then I went through all that, and when Dr. Chula presented it to me and said, I think this will help you, I was still thinking like, okay. I'm not sure. This seems so untraditional, non-standard. It doesn't fit with the narrative of the medical community, more or less. But I wasn't trusting myself either, so I was really trusting, because I couldn't make those judgments. I was feeling just like there was just too much, and I couldn't filter anything at this point. So I thought, I got to try it, even though I was really scared to do so. After the accident, I had like 3 days off from the ER visit, the doctor there. No broken bones, no evidence of any problems within my brain. But I had nothing in my brain. There was no sounds, there was no thoughts, there was nothing. I was just going through the motions. And I couldn't remember things. I was leaning to the right a lot, losing my balance a lot. I was not even able to hold one thought in my head for very long. I was also sick a couple of times during that process, which really didn't help my brain heal. And then by the time I got over the infection, I was realizing I still wasn't quite right. And I couldn't remember anything that had happened from the time I had the accident to the time I got well. I mean, it's still kind of foggy from the infections. And I was struggling with even recalling things I'd done normally for years and years and years. I couldn't remember where to find them. I couldn't locate things. I was dropping things. I was having trouble typing. I couldn't word retrieve. I was noticing that I was getting like, the colors were getting duller, maybe, but I kind of ignored it. I was having other episodes of like visual changes. It changed a lot, which was annoying me. And I was having visual episodes that I knew weren't normal, and I would get lost and not know where I was in familiar places. I didn't recognize anything around me or where I was at. Sometimes I would think I was someplace else, and my brain would tell me, no, you're not, you know where you are. But that isn't what I was getting. And the visual stuff I was getting was like stationary things would shimmy and jump or move, and I would have feelings like the floor is sinking and my body stepping into it and it's sinking, and just lots of little things. I couldn't hang on to my keys. Couldn't tell that I had them in my hands. I couldn't manipulate things with my fingers. It was just, I was a mess, and I was feeling worse. I was feeling like grumpy, old, like 90, 80, 99, I don't know. I was feeling really old and just pushed on. And then I started having the auditory buzzing, humming in my head on the right. It was just so annoying. I was just even thinking, you know, I wanted to get it out of my head. I would shoot myself in the head just to get rid of it because it was that annoying. I was having nightmares. I was having terrible nightmares, and I couldn't sleep because the sound was buzzing all night, and I was just, ugh. I just felt I wasn't myself. I'd go to school every day, and I would tell people, you know, that I just don't feel like myself. I'm still not myself. I'm just kind of going through the motions, and that's it. And everybody like, well, you look fine, you know, you sound fine. No, I'm not. I couldn't retrieve words. I couldn't follow thoughts through. I couldn't hang on to more than 2 thoughts at a time. It was horrible. It was just bad. You were my last hope. So when I began the day of therapy with the sensory cradle, I was kind of intimidated and I was really scared and unsure. When I got on the table and it started to move, I thought I was going to fall off, and I was trying to hold myself up. And even though my brain said, "You're not going to fall, you're not going to fall," I felt like I was falling. That's all I can say. And I was struggling to track, and the little visual ball that you track while you're moving to, and really wasn't sure of the colors as well. Didn't realize some of these things until the therapy continued, like day 2, day 3. And then I began to realize I'm not hearing sound really out of the right side. And I wasn't feeling my body on the left side, where I could feel it on my right side, which was really weird because I felt like I was falling off the chair, but strange enough, these are things that were odd. I couldn't locate myself necessarily where my body was in relationship to the tilt of the chair, but that eventually got better as the therapy went on. I could figure that out. My brain was able to process that. My brain was better able to visually track the ball better, and I realized there was color, and then I could finally hear sound, like, oh, really? There's sound coming out of here? I thought it was them doing it, not me. And it was just really strange. And when they finally showed me the speed of the chair, that it was on the first day versus towards the end, I didn't believe them then either, because it couldn't have been that slow. It just didn't seem like it. Felt like it was moving really fast and like it was at the end of therapy, but it wasn't. And I was like, wow, this just helped integrate me in so many ways that I was so offline, my brain was so offline, that it wasn't making sense in my world. So after the therapy, I'd be so exhausted. My brain would be so tired. I just want to go home and sleep. And I did. There was a couple days I slept like 4.5 hours. I needed it. But I felt so much better. And by like the second week on Thursday, I was like, I feel like myself again. I had my humor back. I had my perspective back. I was starting to remember some things that I had forgotten and were told to me. I didn't need to ask somebody, which I was doing before, what? Can you repeat that? I didn't understand that, and I didn't realize I was doing that because I wasn't processing over here. I haven't had to do that since I finished the chair. And I noticed that colors are coming back. Like, I didn't know there was green in the visual tracking ball until my eye said, bing, hey, there's green in here, and there's blue. And I was like, oh, wow. I don't think these would have come back had I not done this. And now, having gone through it, I realized how disintegrated I was. And that was contributing to my lack of feeling whole and functional. And I haven't dropped my keys once, and I have found my phone twice without having to, like, I could call my phone in the house because I'd misplace it constantly after the accident, and I could get in the area, but I couldn't find it by sound. And now I can, like, right away. I'm like, oh, there it is. And I don't even have to be standing next to it like I was, So many things have improved for me. I can type without mistakes. I can write and it doesn't hurt. Reading is not bothering me as much. It's still kind of a little laborious, but not like it was. Like, I just would read a couple sentences and just say, I'm done. I'm done. Following, like, being able to tell someone else how to do something was extremely difficult for me to even process through, and as a teacher you have to be able to do that. And when I was able, during this therapy, I think it was like at the end of the first week of the therapy, I was able to walk a student through how to do something on the computer. I was so thrilled, and that the student could follow it and understand it, what I was saying. And I was able to break it down and make it sequential enough that they could follow it. So I was just thrilled. So this has been really, really good. Even though at first I felt like, this doesn't look quite right, but once you start and you start to feel all these different changes in your body, and it's so discombobulating at first, but your brain is really starting to make connections that it has lost. You don't notice them necessarily at first until after the therapy goes on a little more, and then you realize that was easier to do. That was easier to do. I could hear that. I didn't hear that before. I felt that, and that's something I hadn't noticed before. You just adjust to how dysfunctional you are after an accident like this. Just saying. Okay, so post the 12 days, the therapy of the 12 days, I felt like myself, which meant my humor was back. I had a sense of myself in my environment, which I really had lost. I'm more balanced than I was before. I'm not leaning, and I can close my eyes in the shower now and not be afraid I'm gonna fall, because that was happening. I can stand on one foot and not be afraid of falling. I can do the things that I was doing before that I lost the ability to do. I'm hearing things integrated more. I'm seeing colors more. I'm able to discriminate and organize what I'm seeing around me, where it was just like a big blob in front of me, and I just kind of wanted to just go away from it. And I have more control over my body, like the fine motor skills are back. I haven't dropped anything. I haven't hit the faucet with any dishes. I mean, just all kinds of things. But the biggest thing after the therapy is that I feel like my brain is back online.